Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. Today, as always, I'll be doing a YouTube deck tech from the comments section for you guys. If you're interested in having me put a deck together for you or help you tweak a list you're trying to work on, I'm looking for any of the 5 metrics in the comments section. A bracket, a budget, a theme, a commander, and any pet cards you might have. I'll also leave a link to join the Discord down below. It's an easy place for you to drop off a deck list for me to work on. Today we had Thomas request the Gitrog Ravenous Ride. This is Golgari, 3 colorless, a black and a green for a 6/5 trample haste. Whenever the Gitrog Ravenous Ride deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that's saddled at this turn. If you do, draw X cards and put X lands from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X is the sacrifice creature's power, saddle 1. So, this deck is a combo machine. I read Ravenous Ride and realized that we could be focused on lands, making a lot of land drops. So all of the creatures here basically have one purpose, and that is to sacrifice themselves to the Ravenous Ride. So things like Anti-Causal Vestige, Bygone Colossus, Daemogoth Titan, Junji, Calixion, Rockcos, so on and so forth. Just about everything here is meant to come into play, saddle up, be sacrificed, and then draw a truckload of cards and put a bunch of lands into play. Some of them, like the Vestige, will give you either on the way in or on the way out some kind of value. Junji, same thing. The cool thing about Junji is when he goes to the graveyard, you can put a non-dragon from your graveyard onto the battlefield, so he kind of replaces himself. Eternal Witness to buy some stuff back. And then we have some cheaper ways to get out big creatures. These creatures all have obvious downsides. Can't attack or block unless an opponent has no cards in hand. When this attacks, well, you don't have another dinosaur. Put a stun counter on it. Cumulative upkeep, sack a creature. All these downsides you don't care about. These are literally coming into play and being sacrificed immediately. The idea of this deck is control the board, control everything going on, and then on the turn that you want to saddle up and draw a bunch of cards, you're going to deploy one of these, sacrifice it to the greater good, not literally the card greater good, but Ravenous Ride, draw a bunch, deploy a bunch of lands, profit. All these are meant to do that. Sakura Tribe Elder, the beginning of our ramp package. So we have Sakura Tribe Elder, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Nature's Lore, Farseek, Rampant Growth, Shared Roots, 3 visits. That's 8. Technically Dark Rituals 9. Arcane Signet 10. Felwar Stone 11, Soul Rain 12, Soul Stone 13. I've said this before. Soul Stone is not a card I would recommend for most decks because of the price, but here I think it's great. Being able to revive one of these giant creatures to be able to re-sacrifice them is amazing. And I do think 13 pieces of ramp is good. We are a lands-based deck, so we do want to make sure we hit all of our land drops and have always lands to deploy. So I think 13 is a good spot for this deck. Sandman is interesting. His power and toughness scales as the game goes on, and you can bring him back with a land from your graveyard to your hand. We'll get into why later, but it's important that you can recur lands from your graveyard as well. Selvala to make a little bit of mana and card draw. More things you can sacrifice. Shakedown, Yargle. And then Ulvenwild is another thing that you can sacrifice, but also lets you go and tutor a land. So tutoring a land is going to be extremely important in this deck. You're going to always want to find Urborg and Cabal Coffers. So we can talk about that combo right now. Cabal Coffers says pay 2, add a black for each swamp you control, and then Urborg simply turns all of your lands into swamps. So it kind of, in a way, doubles your mana, and it's what's going to give you the ability to go over the top of what your opponent's doing, generating dozens of mana and actually being able to end the game with it. Sorceries, so you have removal like Casualties of War. I like this because we always talk about 1-for-1 removal is not great in Commander, but being able to get 5-for-1 removal is pretty damn good. Damnation to buy time, dig up to search for a specific land like we talked about, and then your main win condition here is Exsanguinate as well as Torment of Hailfire. So these are the two main ways that after you've generated your dozens of mana, you're going to actually cast one of these for X equals 25 or something like that. Everyone's going to have to Torment a Hailfire 25 times or lose 25 life. This is what's going to allow you to finish the game. Life from the Loam can help fill up your graveyard as well as buy some lands back. Nylea's intervention to search for specific lands. Pillage the Bog lets you dig deep for any specific card. Reanimate to bring one of your big guys back on the cheap. Toxic Deluge to wipe the board and buy time. Victimize to bring back some of your big creatures as well. Instance, you have Archdruid's Charm. Multifaceted, allows you to do a couple things, but most importantly is search for one of those lands. Assassin's Trophy, just a one-off removal for anything going on that you need to be gone. Elemental Teachings, again, another way for you to find your Urborg Cabal coffers, but there are other combos in here. Dark Depths, Thespian Stage, and then there are value lands like Urza's Saga. Heroic Intervention, just a one-off way to protect your stuff. Not Dead After All, Rushed Rebirth, Undying Malice are all cool ways of you basically getting a second use out of one of these giant creatures that you plan on sacrificing to saddle. Conduit of Worlds as well as Crucible Worlds to buy lands back out of your graveyard. Expedition Map to search for one of the important ones. Skull Spore Nexus is another way for you to basically get a second go at these giant creatures that you're playing because it will replace those creatures. Animate Dead and Necromancy and Dance of the Dead all allow you to bring these big creatures back on the cheap. Black Market Connections and Phyrexian Arena for you to make your land drops, get some advantage early on, and buy time. Journey to Eternity, Kaya's Ghost Form, both allow you to basically rebuy creatures. Meat Hook Massacre as a cool way to buy some time, and as well eventually start to deal damage and gain life. Sylvan Library for card draw, and then finally the land section. So more often than not, we already mentioned you're going to be searching for Cabal Coffers and Urborg. You can also go the route of Dark Depths and Thespian Stage in order to make 2020s. There's other utility lands you can get here. Phyrexian Tower to make mana, Shifting Woodland to get something out of the graveyard. Shizo and Black Gate both are here basically to make Gitrog unblockable. And then I believe the last one should be Urza Saga. So this is an interesting way for you to make creatures over the course of the game. This will allow you to outvalue any lawn strategy deck. And even in a game where you're trying to go quickly, this can let you find your expedition map, which will then also lead to Urborg or Cabal coffers. In your request, you did say that you wanted a combo deck. You did say that you wanted it to be around Protean Hulk. So this is what a Protean Hulk combo looks like. This would be the 6 required creatures in order for this to actually combo and go infinite. So what I will say about Protean Hulk is it's a great card, and in a dedicated Reanimator deck, I think it's amazing. Here, since your commander is leaning heavily into sacrificing creatures that are on the board, and therefore drawing and putting lands into play, in my mind, you want creatures with big power, and you want creatures that you're willing to sacrifice on the spot. Protean Hulk and Reanimator style combos don't usually lend themselves to a game plan that also has to do with lands. So I felt that it made more sense to lean into a land-centric combo since that's what your commander is doing. However, if you do want your Protean Hulk combo, you can add these cards and remove some of the land stuff that I have in here and still accomplish the same goal. But I think the way that we have built it is going to be more consistent. And trust me, when you Torment of Hailfire your friend group for X equals 25, it really does hit different. It's going to be so much more satisfying than simply recurring something out of the graveyard with Protean Hulk and going infinite. But give it a try. Let me know how it plays out. Thank you so much for watching. As always, Godspeed.